It's recording.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Midwives.
Uncut.
We are so excited to have another meeting with you all and to have our series running. We have some very exciting stuff to talk about this week, minus the lovely COVID that we've all been going through. We actually have some good news in the crappy 2020 we have entered.
Yes. It's we're obviously doing Zoom because of COVID, which sucks. We've been doing Zoom for all of our classes and everything else. So, but it's not that we didn't want to do another video. We just, we've been busy with the pandemic.
Yeah. We've been changing policies. We've been still delivering babies and also trying to, have our 100 kids at home because, there's no more school. So don't forget, we're midwives / moms / everything.
Right.
So today we are going to talk about, if you guys have not already seen, there is a viral video going on about a woman in Florida who gives birth at the birthing center parking lot. Well, guess what? It's your Midwives Uncut birth center.
It is so crazy because we never expected for all of this attention, and it's just mind-boggling. But we are so happy that it brought smiles to people's faces and it brought a little joy in the world during this craziness.
Yeah, we actually, it has gotten so popular that we wanted to talk about it because we're super thankful, and there's a few reasons why we're thankful, and we'll talk about all that. But just to give you an idea of how viral the video went. Now we had a feeling like, within our little group, which we
our little network of circle,
right,
birth workers.
We realize how small our circle is. So you guys need to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we felt like this big when we realized how small our circle was. So when we shared it, we figured, okay, the people in our community are going to laugh about it. It's going to be cool, and it's going to encourage women. And then we started to see the views going up and the shares going up. And I think when we got to 500,000, we were like, woo, this is great. And there was 12,000 shares at that time. It went, Facebook, I guess, puts a cap on how far you can see the views. So at 2 million views, it stopped, and 25,000 shares, it stopped. And then that's when the news started contacting us. And
we were kind of like shell-shocked in a sense, because it was not, we didn't expect for everyone to reach out and want to talk about what happened. And we'll talk about it later, but Galina and I were saying, we deliver babies like this all the time. It just doesn't make headline news.
We're glad it's so entertaining for everyone. But I'm going to share my screen with you guys now because I have a few of the news channels that have done a report, which we're so thankful that they did a report. They didn't have to. And I think the more it gets out there that natural birth is good, natural birth happens, women can do this. I mean, they're built for this. Mm-hmm. And also highlighting something called midwives, which in the U.S., I feel like is not a common word, and it should be because that's our specialty, low risk care for women. So here I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see right now. Let's see if I can figure this out, okay. Yes. So here is the first one, WPTV, which I think is in West Palm, Channel 5. And they did a lovely video and article on us. And also it was on the live news. And then we got a call, which blew my mind. Hold on. Oops.
Well, we were on all the local news stations, Channel 6, Channel 7, Channel 10, and they interviewed the parents. And they were such troopers about it because, come on, she just had a baby.
Right. Mind you, now this has all come yesterday. It's only 1 week old, the baby. So all of this happened before this child was a week old. you know, I was like recovery mode at that time. So we were thankful that mom was strong enough to be able to do, and we did Zoom, so she didn't have to go anywhere, but still being able to pull away from giving her children attention to give attention to empower other women was very kind of her. And we're really thankful for that. The New York Post, it hit New York, it hit Ohio, it hit, Sandy will talk about the different countries it's hit as well. And then we have one more, this thing doesn't let me, here we go. And then NBC, this is NBC6, but believe it or not, it actually went on all NBC channels. So like NBC local Ohio, NBC local New York, other places have been able to see the video as well. And that part just, woof, mind blown when I saw that. It's crazy. We'll show you a little bit of this video just so you could see some of the things that they were talking about. Everything has been positive. Everyone has been receiving it in a positive light, talking about it in a positive light, and that's how it should be, really. Right. I'll play a little bit of this this one. Look at Sandy's slick hands. Look at the cop on the right too. She's so blown away. Erica. Look at that. I love it. It never gets old. And they even talked about how Sandy had everything under control. I think that's great. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now, and we were going to talk about a few more things, but it's so beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, you can go on our YouTube channel, Natural Birth Works, and we have the actual news clip and the video posted there. And then this, this one will be posted as well. But there was a few things that we wanted to talk about in regards to the video, just to make sure everybody understood why we were so happy about it. I know that Sandy wants to talk about all the multitasking that she had to do in talking to cops and her, and so I'll let Sandy talk about that part of it.
So yeah, I know that there was a lot of questions at first that I was seeing from the comments, and honestly, I just want to say I am so humbled and grateful for all of the support and all of the positive comments and positive feedback. I am so proud of this mom. She trusted her body. She trusted us as her providers, and that is the most important thing to us. And so, the fact that she had her first baby with us and then trusted us for the second one is already an honor, But so, mom obviously is like the fierce one here. She is amazing that she was able to just like have a baby so quickly. It's not uncommon, like I said before, that moms have babies this quickly. It's called a precipitous birth, if you are interested. And believe it or not, the studies say that about 14% of all singleton deliveries happen this way. So like 1 in 3.
Right. I didn't get any of that, but whatever. It's fine.
I didn't either. My shortest labor was 6 hours, so it was not precipitous. But I think those numbers are pretty crazy, right, Galina? Because we've had a lot of precipitous births. I think that midwives in general should start tracking more of their births in that sense, like for studies, because I feel like these studies come a lot from hospitals, and I don't think that they happen as often in hospitals, because the majority of moms that have precipitous births, they already know that they have these type of births. So they end up, I feel, because we have so many of them come to us, say, listen, I want to stay home this time because I went so fast.
Because they know they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. But there's an organization called Manna, I think, that does the reporting for midwives, and they collect the data that the midwives report. And so you can go to their website and get a lot of our stats, and it shows you how low-risk women do benefit from having a midwife, but it also shows you things like that, like precipitous birth, those types of things.
Right. So, so I just wanted to put that out there because, people were like, what? How did that happen? Like, there was so.
Someone commented about a wheelchair. I don't think people know like a birthing center and midwives, we don't have a full staff like a hospital. So when the dad called Sandy and said she feels like pushing, which was like they had already discussed to meet at the birth center, but the car ride sped up her birth. So he called to just let Sandy know, hey, she feels like pushing. Sandy calls me, which I wasn't even on my way yet because I thought we still had time. Sandy says she feels like pushing. I'm on my way. So I'm her other person to help her. So I hadn't even gotten there yet.
Right. Yeah.
There was a comment about a wheelchair.
There's been a few of those actually.
Who's going to get the wheelchair?
Right. Yeah. Like, so exactly. Dad calls me. I'm literally like putting my gloves on, grabbing a Chuck's pad because that's all I could grab because they were already pulling into the parking lot when I called Galena. Usually, you know, you talk to any midwife, the midwife will assess the mom, see, you know, what stage of labor she's in, and then she calls her assistant midwife or her birth assistant. And that's what I was about to do.
Also, I think it just reinforces the fact that women and women in other areas that don't have hospitals, they have their baby, they get up and they walk. And obviously we don't encourage that. We are all about honoring the postpartum period, but we are not weak. And women, when they birth babies, are very strong still.
Very strong.
And she was, and it showed with her ability to go ahead and do what she needed to do, get to the bed, and then allow us to take care of her afterwards.
Well, another thing is the video may not have caught, but I asked her, I said, are you okay to walk? And she says, yes. Her main concern was like, I just need to get out. I need to get inside. I don't want to be outside anymore. And I get that, you know? And so,
I don't blame her.
You know, the whole quickness of everything where I just had gloves and a Chuck's is because the dad was already in the parking lot. And so when I went out there, I asked her first, I said, can you walk inside? She's like, I think so. But baby was already making its way. And she was like, uh-oh. And that was it. I literally, the husband can attest to this. I told him, I was like, you think we can carry her in? But the problem with carrying her in, had we tried, then we would have ended up like on the sidewalk delivering a baby, you know? And so.
Yeah, this is better.
Standing up was a little better than the sidewalk.
A lot of women have their babies standing up.
Right, a lot.
Intentionally.
The majority, of
right.
our deliveries are in upright position. So, but I wanted to address that because a lot of people didn't understand like the whole process of everything.
Right.
The parents and I were in full communication the entire time. Mom was completely aware, alert, and she was in control of the entire situation. All right. Like I asked her, you can walk? And she was like, yep, I can walk. So I wanted to just say that. And then another thing is we do have a wheelchair, but I am not going to leave a mom that just birthed a baby.
Right. No way.
While I run to the back to come back with a wheelchair, because God forbid I'm not holding her, something happens.
Or holding the baby.
It's not a safe, right. It's not safe. It was not a long walk into the room.
Right. And another person, some funny comments were they couldn't figure out what she was wearing and what the baby came, like, what did it come through? Everybody was like, is it shorts? Is it a skirt? What is it? You know, so Sandy, what was it?
It was definitely shorts. At one point before I knew the baby's head was coming out, I hear her push. And what I did was I put my hand and I could feel the pressure of the baby's head already pushing through the shorts. So had I pulled the shorts down, the baby would have probably come down and fallen into the shorts, and I didn't want that. So the shorts were definitely loose enough for me to pull to the side, and then baby came out. And I got to tell you that this kid, as soon as the head came out, she tried to cry before her body was even out. Like she
you can even hear her in the video.
Yeah, she was crying immediately.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. Like I knew baby was okay because baby was immediately, she cried, she was vigorous. And
startle reflex was intact. She was like,
yeah, she was like, I'm ready. I am here, world. This is my time.
So another thing that we, once we had mom in the room and we were laughing about it, doing the postpartum care, you know, doing everything that we do afterwards, I think Sandy was like, do you think the ring got it on camera? And that's when the seed began to grow of this whole event. So I was looking and I was like, wow, not only did it get it, but it got everything perfect, no cuts in between, because sometimes Ring does that. And I was amazed. So then we just showed it between us, thinking how cool that her video got captured.
We all laughed. It was so funny.
Yeah. And then he asked for, he's like, can you send it to me? I'm like, absolutely. This is a great thing to have for your birth story. And then afterwards, you know, Sandy was like, this is amazing. And other women should see this so that they know that birth is possible no matter where or what you're doing, you know? And then of course we talked to the family and asked permission if we could share it to help empower and encourage other women.
And she was all about it.
It was all about it. I mean, most women who choose a natural birth, they know that there's a lot of stigma behind it. And so they try to empower each other. And this was her way of being able to do it. And she was, it seemed like she was really excited to do that. Then the shit hit the fan with, with everybody. And
well, I was so impressed by the fact that the video actually caught Galena even at the end. Like, it caught everything. Like, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like, that is our reaction when we miss a birth because the baby went so fast. We get upset. We're like, damn it. Like, what the hell? I was supposed to be there.
This is what was going on in my head, okay? Sandy called me. If you look at the video, you'll see I'm not wearing scrub pants. I am wearing sweatpants. And they look like high waters. It looks terrible. Like, worst debut on film ever, but whatever. So she's calling and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm very close to the birth center. I live like less than 10 minutes away. And so I'm calling and when I pull up, I see the police. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe like the dad ate some lights and they followed him, you know?
Right.
So as I come running out, I'm like, is everything okay? And then I run to the door, like whatever, you know, cause like, you don't know. And then I run to the door and I look down the hall and Sandy like looks up as she's like walking with her. She like looks up, the baby's here. And I'm like, unfreaking believable. Missed it. I couldn't help you because like, you know, you want to be there to help your partner. And
exactly.
Of course, you know, not miss the birth or anything. And I got annoyed in a funny way, not like in a real.
Of course. Yeah, it was just so funny, you know, and I want to address the whole police situation because a lot of people didn't understand why the cops were standing there. They just so happened to be across the street at something else. Like they were never called, you know, he didn't eat the lights. And the funny thing is she was upset at him because he kept catching every light and she kept telling him, just take the lights. And I was like, had you taken those lights, you probably would have made it inside.
Would have made it in the room. Yeah. And also it's not their job to deliver unless there is not a trained professional there. And that was why Sandy was identifying herself as the midwife so that she's the trained person, not them. They're just there for like an emergency. Well, so it was proper that they didn't step in unless Sandy needed it, and she didn't.
And that's the thing. Like all I see is them coming towards me. She's putting her gloves. He's on the radio, and I'm like letting them know, like, stop whatever you are doing. You don't have to call anyone, because you know I felt confident in everything that was going on. You know, I know this mom. I felt comfortable with everything, but also I did not want her to feel so violated, to be honest with you. And then at one point, when I say I'm the midwife, I'm here to have the baby, it's because the male officer asked me, he's like, you need rescue? And I was like, no, like, that's what she's here for, you know? So I really feel like they were just confused. They didn't realize that it was a birth center.
I think it was perfect. I think it was perfect. I really do. I think that they did their job well. They offered you the help. Then they realized when you said, you know, she's birthing here, then I think because he looks at the front door to see that it says birth center on it.
Right.
And then I think he made the connection then. And then once I pulled up, they realized we're all here. And then they just, I slammed the door in their face too, but then they left at that time because they realized this is what we do, you know?
Right. Yeah. And that's why I saw someone say, well, why were you so worried about? I wasn't worried about the cops. I wanted them to stop before they entered her space. So I was really trying to protect her privacy, even though we were outside. I was really trying to, you know, give her the respect and the privacy that she needed to birth her baby.
Right, because there was nothing abnormal going on. It just happened to be in an interesting location. That's all.
Exactly.
So,
she had the baby just like that inside.
right, yes, exactly. So another thing we want to talk about is why we shared it. I think we talked a little bit about it, but it's important, like, you know, talking about the news picking it up and all of that. It has made us happy because our goal always with what we do, and most midwives, is to empower women, right? And what better way to empower another woman who might fear birth, which most of us are so afraid of the pain and what will happen. And so
well, that's because that's what TV and movies have done. Unfortunately, you know, we have been taught to fear something that our body is meant to do, and we have been drilled in our head that it's an emergency, and there can be emergencies, and we respect that, but not always.
Oh, no, not actually. In low risk women, very low percentage of the time is there an emergency, especially when allowed to do what your body needs to do. And so seeing it firsthand like that, and how calm everybody was, is a good reminder of your capability as a woman, putting the power back into women. So we were super, the more it spreads, the more women get empowered, the better off we're going to be, because as women, we need that.
Too. Yeah, she said that too in one of her interviews, that she was happy that it could inspire women. And that is definitely what we want. We want to inspire women so that they understand that they have choices, that, you know, they don't always have to choose the traditional, what they think is traditional route. There are other options. There are midwives. If you choose to go to the hospital, there are nurse midwives in the hospital too. So that's, you know,
and then there are licensed midwives who work out of the hospital, and some women don't even know it's an option. They just think pregnant, birth in a hospital. They don't even know that the choice is there. So this definitely shed light on birthing centers, which is so great for all birth centers everywhere, and for midwives to kind of being brought back that, hey, we've been around for like, you know, ever. And we kind of still know what we're doing, you know?
Yeah. Well, the midwife
update training.
The midwife that we trained under, she would often like tell us something from the Bible of how midwives were like there when the Pharaoh,
like biblical times. Yeah,
exactly. So yes, this is an ancient tradition and profession, and
hospital births became popular, I think, was it around World War II? I think when they started to really become
slightly before that, but
yeah.
Doctors in general started taking over births way back in, like, I want to say the 14 or 1500s. I saw this documentary on a midwife. They found her diary of like all her births, and how she would, like, she was the midwife of the town, and you know, they would go and they would middle of the night, and they would bring her when the mom is a neighbor. But then there's a part of the diary where in those times when the doctors were like doing it, experimental things, and they were starting to play around with like opiates, and there's my
we were like guinea pigs.
Exactly. My favorite part of it was like, she stayed there even though the doctor was there. She was like, eventually it would wear off, and then she would have the baby. And that's exactly what happened. Like once the opiate wore off and she was in transition, she had the baby without any drugs. So it's unfortunate, but that's how the history of midwives have gone.
We've had a fun history, hangings, you know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we will wrap it up for today, and please subscribe, because we are really trying to help get the word out there about natural birth. We're going to start doing more segments with more focus on different areas of benefiting women with natural birth and things you can do, breastfeeding, all of that stuff. We really want to share it. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you want something specific for us to talk about, just shoot it in the email, and then on our notes, whatever, YouTube. I want to be all fancy and like I know social media, but I really don't. So figure out a way in YouTube to send it to me, and I promise you I will read it.
And thank you again, everyone, for your support, for your encouraging words. I know that it has definitely made an impact on this new mom. It's definitely made an impact on us. And
oh wow, yeah.
And you know, and I know that it's definitely made an impact on birthing mothers and midwives and just the relationship. So thank you, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you all. All right, have a good one. Bye.